Reviews. Now, reviews are pretty hard to get, but when I get one, all I do is I give people the link to Google reviews, or I ask them a question in an email and I just wait for them to respond. And hopefully the review is really good and gives me loads of stars and helps people see that I do what I say. Do you reckon there's a strategic way to use reviews to make it mean a little bit more than that? Welcome to Inner Business, the podcast that delves deep into the soul of entrepreneurship. My name is Selena Woodward, seasoned business owner, qualified business coach, and intuitive guide. Hi there, I'm here to offer you actionable steps to increase your revenue whilst we explore how you are showing up in your business. I am your host. Let's explore the blocks and connect the dots. Business coach and soulpreneur. And I want to start by thanking all of you who have already listened to last week's episode about Google My Business. And I want to take a moment to celebrate Tania at the Seasonal Bunch. She, if you remember, was the person who did the walkthrough with me, well, for all of you. So I'm sure you've enjoyed following along as we went through that process step by step. And what I'd love to celebrate, apart from Tania's bravery in entering the world of Google My Business, is that in that time, in less than a week, Tania has collected over 20 5-star reviews. Woo! And this has meant that as a florist in her area, her authority is growing, and her ranking in Google SEO is going up. So congratulations to Tania, who is really enjoying that and is definitely enjoying the rewards of that as well. Congratulations to you, Mom. Awesome stuff. Now, during that walkthrough with Tania, we talked a lot about reviews because Google My Business is the place where you can collect Google reviews. And she asked a great question in our walkthrough about how you should go about collecting reviews. Now, most of us know that reviews are important. We know that they are a tool that will sort of repeat our authority back. Our brand message is suggesting that this is a problem that our customer has. We are the guide who can help them. This is how we'll do that, and these will be the results. And the testimonials and reviews that we get give us an opportunity to support the brand message that we've created for our service, for our product, for our soul work. And so reviews are really important. And most of us believe that any review will do, right? As long as it's above like maybe 4.5, 5 stars. Awesome. Just something that says, great, loved what you did, 5 stars. That'll be great, because a review is a review. You are a busy person. Maybe you don't feel that you have time to go much beyond that. But, reviews are a powerful opportunity. And in today's episode, I want to explore with you how you can turn your clients, your customers, into the ultimate sales tool for you by asking them questions that mean that when they give you a review, they are actually repeating back what you have in your brand script. They are confirming what you say you do with your service or your product, and they are elevating your brand message and increasing your authority. There is a big difference between a review that says, loved working with you, you're really nice, and a review that repeats back all the promises that you said you were going to make as they have already happened. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you 5 questions that you can use to ask your clients so when they give you a review, it is a review that is powerful enough that it will not only attract new customers, but it might very well be the thing that helps that customer take action and book that call or buy that product. When it comes to reviews, my first question to you is, how are you collecting reviews? Hopefully you have now set up Google My Business, and so you have a place to collect reviews. Episode 003 if you need support with that. But what is your business process? Comment below how it is that you make sure that people take the time to leave you a review. What do you do? Do you have a business process? Do you send an email a certain amount of time after someone has purchased from you? What is your process? Let me know in the comments below. And we'll come back to that at the end of the podcast. As a certified Business Made Simple coach, you know that I help a lot of people create what we call a brand script. A script that we use over and over and over again to create a repeatable message in everything we do in our business. In our website copy, in our email marketing, in our social media campaigns, everywhere. The brand script creates something that we can use over and over again. It removes a whole heap of overwhelm. Well, today I want you to lean in because I am going to use that brand script to create these 5 questions that you can give your customers to craft those amazing reviews. That's right. The brand script is going to help us create a full circle so that the brand message is going round and round and round and getting stronger and stronger and stronger. By using the StoryBrand framework to structure reviews, your reviews will do far more than just say you are awesome, which in itself is very important. Your reviews will also echo the transformation that you promised would happen when people work with you, and echo that back across the internet to collect all the other people who need your services. It's really important. Now, in a brand script, the customer is called the character, the main character of the story. And we first of all ask the character what it is that they want. So you need to make sure that in your review, you ask your customer what was it that they were looking for when they came to you. The second question we explore in the StoryBrand framework is what the problem is for that character. So what is stopping that character getting what they want or need? And we do that through 3 lenses. The first one is the external problem. The second one is how that makes them feel. And the third one is why that's just plain wrong, or the philosophical question. Now, when we're asking for a review, we can lean into these aspects of the StoryBrand framework by asking our customers about their problem. So we can ask them, what did you want? What was the problem? And how did that make you feel? So, for example, one of the businesses I've been working with, Adelaide Colonics in Mile End, their customers want to feel great. They want to get rid of all of the bloating and discomfort. The problem is they've tried medications, they've tried all sorts of things, and they're not getting the results they want. That's making them feel anxious, bloated, uncomfortable, all sorts of icky things. And it's plain wrong because they deserve to live a life where they're not so worried about what their gut's gonna do next. So maybe in a review, I would ask them, hey, what did you want? What was the problem? And how did that make you feel? And I should get that echoed back. What I wanted was to feel better. The problem was I've tried X, Y, and Z and it hasn't worked. And it was making me feel miserable. Brilliant. Now that what they're saying is resonating with the next customer who comes along and is understanding that. And what makes it even more amazing is they will say it in their own words and it will make it even more real to the next person who comes along. You see what we're doing here? So those are our first 3 questions. What did you want? What was the problem? How did that make you feel? Now, over in the bottom right of your StoryBrand script, you will have what we call the identity transformation. What they were feeling or arriving at before and how they are at the end. And you can use the identity transformation in the review too, because remember, your service or product is promising that transformation. So we want to ask questions for our review that get them to touch on where they were at and what has changed now. Okay? So a great question might be, what has changed since you used my product or used my services? Now, I want you to remember that my philosophy every time with any of my advice or suggestions is that you filter this through your personal filter. Everything I say here needs to be deeply considered and aligned with your business. So it may not be that the question is directly what changed for you after using my services. You need to think very carefully about what that question might be. Another place that you can look for in the transformation section of the review is in the success and failure parts of the StoryBrand framework. What we want is to echo in that review the same things we put in our stakes section on our website and in our marketing in the failure and success box. So you can ask a question along the lines of what successes did you have? How is it different now that you've had our product? What was the reaction of your friends and family when you brought this product home? If I'm looking at flowers again, then that might be it, because the flowers are very rarely for ourselves, sadly. Maybe we were buying a bunch of flowers for mom. And so we're going to talk about why it was different and what the result was when I bought a bunch from the seasonal bunch versus the local supermarket. So let's imagine for a minute that one of our customers needed a bunch of flowers for Mother's Day. And although seasonal bunch do pre-orders, they hadn't done that. They were like, oh, crikey, I got to pick up a bunch on the way to Sunday lunch. Where am I going to go? I got into trouble last year because I bought some flowers from the local servo and my mum looked at me like, thanks, dear. It didn't come across with a lot of love or affection, and it was very obvious that I'd kind of forgotten and done it at the last minute. I need to get some points with my mum. So my problem is I've left it to the last minute. I'm not organized. What I want is a really beautiful bunch of flowers for my mom that scream love, affection, I appreciate you. And the problem is the flowers at the servo or the flowers at the supermarket just do not cut it. Plus they don't really last very long and they're quite expensive for what they are. So I go on Google Maps and I ask Google, hey Google, find me a florist. And it shows me some florists in my local area. One of them is the Seasonal Bunch, and I look at the reviews. And somebody on there has written a review about how they needed a last minute bunch of flowers, how they really don't like the flowers at the supermarket because they don't last very long and it kind of looks a bit obvious that it was all a bit last minute. So they popped into the Seasonal Bunch and my goodness, the bunches of flowers are all beautifully created with love. They all look like they have been special ordered. They are all gorgeous, eco-friendly and native, and they ticked every single box. When they handed that bunch of flowers to their mum burst into tears. There was no, oh yeah, I see you got this from the OTR down the road. And they had the desired effect. The change was, mom knows I love her and that I have made an effort. Does that make sense? Is that in that example there? Very different, all right, to flowers were great, mom loved them. We're trying to expand the story to include the character on their journey to transformation. Comment below. Do you think you could do that with your business? How would you filter that process through your coaching service, through your Reiki healing, through your wellness hub? What would you use as your question about transformation? Comment below and I will reply to you. Now, the next question is about examples, and I kind of gave you one there with Mum's bouquet of flowers. But if you can ask them for specific examples about what has changed for them, your review will be even more powerful. So for example, if you've worked with me and in the review you say that your confidence has boosted, you're excited to get on with things and your revenue has increased, that is going to work wonders because the next person who comes along will read that and think, I want that too. And of course, because it comes from one of your clients and not from you, it's going to be the truth, right? It's going to feel very, very verified and it's going to lift your authority. So think about adding a question to ensure that you get specific examples if you can. Now, the fourth and a little bit question, 4A I like to call it, is really good for those of you who have high ticket items. Because high ticket items usually come with a bigger gap between call to action and doing it. There are bigger decisions that need to be made in regards to the investment that someone is going to make. And in the sales process, we use objection handling. We answer questions to keep bringing people closer and closer and closer to closing that deal and taking the step that they need to with you. One question that you can add as a bonus if you are selling a higher ticket item is you can ask in the review that your client leave a message for somebody who is on the fence, someone who is not sure whether or not to go ahead. You can literally ask them, what would you say to someone who is not sure whether they want to go ahead? And let them share their response. Because what they're going to do is they're going to think back to all the reasons they were freaking themselves out about not taking the plunge. And they're going to share that, and they're going to share why they are so glad they didn't listen. And again, it's not coming from you, it's coming from a verified customer. So even more kudos, even more authority, it builds on it all. Very different to just saying, really liked your services, thanks Selena, 5 stars, right? Not all reviews are created equal. So to recap, the 5 questions are, and I have them written down here. 1, what did you want? 2, what was the problem? What was stopping you getting what you wanted? 3, how did that make you feel? Or how did that make the person you gave it feel? If we think about those Mother's Day flowers, both of them. Number 4, what shifted or changed when you worked with me, bought my product, gifted the thing that you bought from me? What shifted or changed? And number 5, can you give me a specific example of that? And then 5A, if you're doing high ticket, what would you say to someone who is on the fence? Now, if you can get them to answer those questions, you will have crafted an incredibly powerful review for your business. Let's just sit with those questions for a moment. Let's take a deep breath and imagine a client, a customer that you are currently working with or have recently finished working with. Imagine those beautiful women on your retreat as you wave them goodbye. Imagine that man who drove away with the flowers for his wife. Imagine the person who just left your colonics clinic having had a treatment with you. Whatever it is you do, imagine that customer. Remember what it was that you said you could do for them in your marketing and branding message. Can you see them? I'm going to ask each question now. I want you to imagine that customer. I want you to imagine what they say to you in answer. Let's see if we can create a mythical review to practice. First question. What did you want when you came here? What are they saying? Are they saying, I wanted a beautiful bunch for my wife, I'm in trouble? Are they saying, I really want to just feel better? What are they saying? Second question. What was stopping you from getting what you wanted? What's the problem? What was stopping you getting what you wanted? What's the problem? Are they saying, I'm just so busy, I can't find time. I have to look after everyone else, and I'm not sure how to prioritize myself? Are they saying, I forgot to order them, and I just don't want to go back to the OTR again. I'm going to get into big trouble. I need to up-level it. Are they saying, I've tried the doctors, I've tried this, I've tried that, nothing has worked? What does your customer say? What was stopping you? What was the problem? Why couldn't you get what you wanted? Now imagine them, visualize them, and ask them, hey, how did that make you feel when you couldn't have what you wanted? Panicked? Anxious? Worried? What words are they saying to you? Say, my goodness, I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad that you worked with me. I'm so glad you chose me to purchase this product from. What's shifted now? What's changed after we've worked together? After you took this bouquet of flowers to your wife or your mum? After you came in for that colonic session? After you joined me on retreat? What has shifted for you? This is the yummy stuff. What do they say? There's your soul work. What are they saying? Feels good, huh? Did they give you a specific answer? Specific example? So if they said, do you know what, I feel really great now. I know how to prioritize myself. Or my wife was like blown away by the flowers. Thank you. Can you ask them to give you a bit more detail? Can you ask them which flowers they bought and why their wife loved them? Can you ask them what specific activity on the retreat helped them to work out how to make space for themselves? Let's make it tangible. What do they say? And finally, if you were to ask them, hey, what would you say to someone who isn't sure about whether they should go ahead? Then what would they say? How did that feel? Did the questions resonate with you and your customers? If they didn't, that's okay. You can head to selenawoodward.com/004, grab the PDF of the questions that I've used today and edit them, filter them through your soul business until you have the questions that help you connect back to your story brand. Now, if you don't have a story brand, please reach out to me. I will continue to make episodes about these things, but if it's something that's intriguing you and something that you're thinking, maybe I want that, please feel free to comment, reach out to me, okay? But head to selenawoodward.com/004, download the questions that I've shared today and start editing them so that they are aligned with you and your business and they create that full circle of the story of what you do, the celebration of the impact that you have. The goal here is to not just get any review, but a review that adds authenticity and adds power to the words that you are sharing, confirms your soul work, confirms the difference that you make. And now we got to come back to the question I asked you at the beginning. How do you go about collecting reviews? And how on earth do you get a moment to ask these questions? So I want you to really think about the process that you have. As I've said before, one of the critical actions in my business is to email every client that I wrap up with some questions just like these and ask them to write me a Google review using these questions. Now, I'm super lucky because I'm often working with my clients on brand scripts, so they are incredibly good at it. So I want you to think about, if this is important to you and your business, how you are going to collect a handful of really strong reviews or testimonials. If you're not using Google Review and you want these for your online courses or some big ticket item, then you can email your clients. You can even ask if you can call them Ask them these questions and then ask them if you can turn that into a review that you use on your website and get their permission to do so. If you only need 3 or 4 for your website, awesome. If this is Google review time, what can you do? Can you email clients a certain number of weeks after they have received your product or when they complete working with you? Can you give them these questions? Do you want to give them all of the questions? Do you want to give some clients questions about the problem and the difference? Do you want to give other clients questions about how they were feeling then and how they're feeling now? Experiment with this. Play in the space of those questions with the goal of crafting and guiding your clients to create really powerful reviews that connect back to your story brand and increase your authority. How does that sound? Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about reviews or about StoryBrand. I'm happy to answer all of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out for you this week. Continue to reach out to me. It's always awesome to hear what is coming up. That's the whole point of Inner Business, is to hold a reflection of what's coming up for you in business. So if even collecting reviews makes you feel icky, let's lean into that together. Drop me a message. I really look forward to exploring this with you. That's it for this week's episode of the Inner Business Podcast with Selena Woodward, and I will see you next time. Take care.